What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also, share this out. Training camp starts next week, and it's going to be really fun to watch. A lot of different things, but please share this out. A lot of content creators aren't doing Roster Bubble Series like I am and putting out the content like I am. So would appreciate a share out, video series, and of course, the channel too, as we are slowly inching in, if we haven't already, at 1.3K. With that being said, another roster bubble video. These usually take about 5 to 10 minutes long, sometimes longer depending on the profile. I take a player that's on the roster bubble, and what I do with them is I talk about their background, their competition, you know, how they could win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster, and then a prediction at the end. So today is going to be based around Tomon Fox, who is 25 years old, 6'3", 260. He was an undrafted free agent out of North Carolina. He actually played 6 years at North Carolina because I guess he took advantage of the COVID year and he had an extra year. So he had 6 years at North Carolina and also was one of the top sack leaders at UNC alongside Lawrence Taylor. So UNC history, he's well known in that area. But Giants signed him as an undrafted free agent in 2022, and he was the only one to make the roster. Nobody else. Not Ryder Anderson, who made it obviously a couple of weeks later, but Tomon Fox was the only one out of the straight 53 that was undrafted free agent. So he played in 16 games, missed one. I believe he missed the game against Dallas. Technically got the first sack of the season, which was on Ryan Tannehill. 1 sack, 1 game started, 24 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, 3 tackles for a loss, 5 pressures on the quarterback, and that's pretty much that. In terms of defensive snaps, 30% of the defensive snaps in the 16 games, and 42% on special teams. Now, if you guys like PFF stats, once again, I sometimes will add these in. Against the run, 45. Against the pass, in terms of a pass rusher, 52, and then tackling, 40.6, and he missed 5 tackles at an abysmal 18.5 rate. So that's not good. That's not good. Obviously, the fact that, he's not good against the run doesn't really suit him well in a lot of different areas right now because the Giants were the weakest against the run last year. They could not set the edge. A couple of guys in the middle were not doing their jobs. And also as well, it's just, if you're not able to make certain tackles, and listen, he made 24 tackles, but if he missed 5 tackles at a rate of 18.5, I mean, that's got to be one of the highest on the team. And again, tackling is important, whether it's just finishing off a quarterback, tackling a guy in the backfield, doing whatever. I mean, it's the simple fundamentals of football. But what does his competition look like? Well, it's stiff in some areas and stiff in others. It's not stiff in others, I should say. Elerson Smith, who's played barely any games the last 2 years. We did a Roster Bubble Series video on him. If you'd like, go check it out. O'Shane Ximines, who we did a video on just recently. You can go check that out. Who is a veteran of a few years in the NFL since 2019. Got re-signed by the Giants just this past May. And Haba Baldonado, who was an undrafted free agent. I wanted the Giants to actually draft him, but obviously he fell into our lap, and I like that. Listen, I like Haba. But, what does he bring to the table compared to these other guys in terms of Tomon Fox? Well, Tomon Fox, in terms of pass rush, probably brings more than Elerson Smith. I'm not sure about Baldonado because I think he put up better stats at Pitt. And also he's never played an NFL snap. O'Shane Ximines is a better pass rusher, at least I would guess, because Tomon Fox, I mean, the sample sizes, you can't really compare, years in the NFL compared to 1 year of 16 games. It's not really a fair sample size, but I will say, in terms of impact on the defense, I think O'Shane Ximines is slightly better with the pass rush side. Now, run defense, I think they're both bad because Ximines has had a problem with the problem the last few years not being able to set the edge. Tomon Fox, didn't really impact the defense in a positive way when it came to the run. Now, Haba Baldonado, I think he's a solid run defender. Some things to work on both in the passing and rushing game. So I think Haba Baldonado, for both sides, gives Tomon Fox a run for his money. O'Shane Ximines more on the pass rush side. Now, how can he win? Staying healthy is one thing. He's definitely been available. Work on tackling and run defense. I mean, tackling is the base factor, right? Tackles in the open field, tackles, in terms of stopping yards after the catch or, yards after contact for a rusher or a quarterback escaping from the pocket. Those are just different scenarios that are going to be thrown at you in football. And especially when you're at the NFL level, you need to take care of those tackles. You need to wrap up. And, to be fair, he did make a very big hit on, I believe, was Trenton Irwin or Trent Taylor. I believe it was Trent Taylor. If you guys remember last preseason when they threw that screen to Trent Taylor and Tomon Fox just boom, he totally wrecked him right there. There's some other words, shellacking. He shellacked him, and the Giants recovered the fumble. It was like less than 10 seconds left in the game anyway, so the Giants would have won the preseason game either way. But with that being said, we know he could hit big. We know he could hit hard, but the tackling, that's got to get better. Especially, once again, when the defense, there's more stiff competition coming in this year, and also as well, the defense is not good against the run, at least coming off last year. Makes Zimenez and others uncomfortable, in terms of that stuff. Run defense, bettering up that as we just talked about, and, get better your pass rush moves. Build up if you can. I think he is 260, I mentioned. I think that's a little larger than Oshane Ximines. Oshane Ximines has been the same player for the past, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Has been the same player for the past 5 years. Where Tomon Fox, maybe he could grow a little bit. Maybe he could be more than just a 2-sack guy. Or he could be a 2-sack guy and, improve his run defense and just be that type of Jihad Ward type of player. I don't know where Tomon Fox's ceiling is. I'm not going to speculate, but I'm just throwing some scenarios out there. And also special teams. He's good in kickoff coverage. Now, obviously, the Giants need contributors on special teams, punt coverage, kickoff coverage, whatever. So I think that's an area where he wins it over Baldonado, Ximines, and Smith, but that's a small part of the big cake. How can he lose? Unhealthy, can't wrap up against the run. I think tackling is going to be one of the bigger eye-openers, bad or good for Tomon Fox, considering the fact that obviously he missed tackles at an 18.5% rate. Once again, that's not very good. And especially when you get limited sample size, like if you're a linebacker, Blake Martinez or Nick Bolton, those guys can afford to miss tackles because they make $100, $200 a year. Where Tomon Fox, he didn't get a lot of, snaps, 30% on defense. Can't afford to make those mistakes, especially when you're not necessarily renowned around the league. You're not this type of player who's got this solid reputation. But wrapping up against the run is going to be big. Last few preseasons, we've watched the Giants just give up big runs, and they can't really set the edge. And they've struggled to find players on the waiver wire that can set the edge, and also overshadowed on special teams. But I think the big thing is wrapping up against the run, wrapping up tackles overall, and trying to improve that pass rush game, getting a sack or two. Because last year, when he was a part of that defensive line / linebacker crew, none of those guys got to the quarterback. It was all corners. It was Trenton Thompson one game, and it was also Khalil Dorsey another. So, get to the quarterback. But once again, how can he win? Stay healthy, work on tackling and run defense, make Ximines and others uncomfortable, and also contribute on special teams. How can he lose? If he doesn't stay healthy, if he gets injured, can't wrap up against the run, and overall doesn't work on his pass rush moves and overshadow on special teams, I don't think he's going to make the roster. I think Oshane Ximines makes it over him based on experience. We'll see how the rest of the room folds out. I don't think Ellison Smith's going to make it. And once again, I'll have a video on Haba Baldonado within the next 2 weeks. But I think they keep him on the practice squad. I just don't think Tomon Fox gets as lucky as last year in terms of making a roster spot. Like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. More of these every single day, once a day, till the middle of training camp. We appreciate you guys. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.